Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to some more Order 66 raid content. Today we're going to be doing Bad Batch post nerf. It's not necessarily a proper nerf. They just were improperly benefiting from a R9 bonus at lower tiers. So the bonus they were getting was a plus 100% accuracy, and whenever mark is dispelled, which happens a lot, they'd have a locked mark for one turn, and then Lord Vader would gain extra seconds of execute. I don't think all of it was applying. I think maybe it was just the dispelled mark becomes a locked mark, but that did make it a lot easier, and I did make a video on it before, but using that same approach, I was not able to get it done or a max run no matter how hard I tried. So we're going to be going over a different strategy, which has so far worked quite well for me. So the basic point of the strategy is to use some basics. So Hunter, we don't want to use his mark ability, so we're going to use a basic to start out. Omega, we want to save her second special, and the first special doesn't really benefit, so she's going to open with a basic. And Batcher, sometimes he's going to do a basic because this middle ability does a mark. So there are purposes to use these marking abilities, but you don't want to use them if you actually want to kill the character that you're targeting, and that character has more than like a little tiny bit of health. If they have a tiny bit of health, you're fine to do a mark if you're going to kill them with a hit. Like, it's tempting to use this because Bad Batch allies are going to get 30% offense for 2 turns. But since you're trying to mark them, they're going to dispel it, and it's not going to work. So I like to open with Ferocious Bite. It gets bleed, and sometimes that is the finishing blow that kills them. With Hunter, sometimes it's tempting to do his mark ability because all Bad Batch allies are going to get offense up, protection up, and the attacker allies are going to assist. But again, we only want to use that if we know we're going to get a kill with it, because it's going to get dispelled and it's going to be a whole mess. In Omega, we're going to start at the beginning with using her basic and then save her special for the second time around. So that once they already have self, they're going to get turn meter, and that's going to help get us a second wave of attacks right after we use that. And then Crosshair, the big thing with him is target himself with this ability, so he removes Scarred more and gets to his big ability faster. Now for the mods, I have Hunter the fastest, and I don't know if you have to use a speed set. You might be able to do offense. This is what has been working for me. I have a speed set on Hunter. He's my first person to go. First character to go. Plus 167 speed for 359. I don't have any crit damage on him. I don't have any targeted offense on him. But he is the fastest. My second fastest is Batcher. This, I feel like, is potentially the least important of the turn meter or of the turn order. I have plus 150 speed on him for 334. I do have crit damage on him, and I do have a little bit of offensive focus. Just the Crosshair, I've been on a massive focus. Third, I have Crosshair. I do have offense mods on him. I have some crit chance on him. I have crit damage triangle, and I have an accuracy arrow. It's really hard to get a good accuracy arrow. I use it because I do have a good one, although you might be just as well off using a speed arrow. I have some offense percentage in the secondary too, and that helps. Omega, she is really naturally slow, so you're gonna have to, you want to get her, I don't know, around 300 speed or so. You just want her to be able to go before Fox goes. I don't know the exact cutoff, but I have plus 169 speed on her to get her to 306. And other than that, it's just survivability. I have some tenacity, but, you know, not really doing any damage. And then Wrecker, most of the time he dies, and it's fine. I have survivability on him. I have some good speed, but a lot of times he's not actually getting to do much before he dies. And I covered this in my first video. I do think there's only 3 super important Zetas. You want Omega's lead, because that is going to prevent you from getting crit while stealth, which is huge, absolutely huge. Batchers is going to let you avoid taunt and stealth. Avoiding stealth is actually pretty handy in this raid. And then Hunters is going to let you get the cooldowns on his lightning throw pretty fast. The others you don't really need. Wrecker, you don't really care too much about his because he's usually going to just die. Omega's other 2 aren't a big deal, and Crosshairs are only active if there's like no Galactic Legends, which there is here. And there's no protection, so ignoring protection doesn't matter. So I have all the Zetas, but you only really need the 3. All right, and I'm not trying to do a huge deep dive analysis on the whole raid structure, but I'll go over a couple things. So we want to kill Fox, we want to then kill Apo, but it's most important to kill Fox first because we can use Dire Fortitude, or as I like to call it, Capture the Flag, which adds Execute to Lord Vader and give some offensive buffs to you for the rest of the battle. The key thing is adding Execute, because that gives you more time to get everyone down and save the Jedi. Subdued is not as important. There are some cases where you might want to pull it, but they're going to be reducing stacks of... Where's Lord Bear? They're going to be removing stacks of Execute when they crit you, and you're not getting crit as much when you're stealth. Omega has protections against that, so we actually kind of want Wrecker to die or go down into the captive. Sometimes you don't want it immediately, like you don't want to take mods off him, but you want him to go down because you're going to get crit less, and those execute stats are going to go down less. But you can't stun Fox, can't stun Apo. I like to try to kill disguise clone troopers if I can before Nightfall Trooper because they're a bigger threat. But yeah, let's get into the actual battles. Alright, so let's get some actual runs under our belts, try and get the winning one, but we'll show a couple fails if they happen. So starting with basic, get someone called in. Landing speed up is nice. I don't know if it's mandatory, but it is nice. Basic with Omega. Target Hunter himself to reduce his stacks of Shaken. Use the Bite ability, Ferocious Bite, or I don't know if that's his basic ability. So we land some bleeding. Also, the target practice is nice. So, in general, if you can, you want to try and attack the character that you have been hitting in the previous turns because you're going to get extra crit chance, offense, crit damage. But it's not necessarily always going to line up, and sometimes it does make sense to go for someone else. And we actually kind of like Wrecker more or less dying or going into his captive state, because if he did go in there earlier, they would have been not critting as much, and they would have had fewer targets, and actually we would have more stacks of execute to work with. But this is what we have now. Sometimes he does die fast, sometimes he doesn't. We really need to kill Fox before he takes a turn. So we have... Okay, excellent. That's actually even better than I normally have. I have the Capture a Flag ability here, which is a great granted ability. The only reason I recommend not doing it in certain cases is if you have either Crosshair's big snipe ability or Hunter's Thunder Spear. So we're gonna do the big snipe. Hopefully we kill Apo. Got him. Okay, this is fantastic. Let's use Capture the Flag with Omega. Perfect person to use it. Actually, Batcher would have been great too, because we don't care a whole lot about Batcher's turns. They can still, take us out. There's 7 stacks. They could whittle it down. But we're lucky they're only hitting stealth people. They're not critting. Batcher could target stealth characters. He's the only one. Let's just keep working on the target practice. And at this point, I think it's best to call someone else to assist. So I'm going to call Hunter since he's already shrugged off his issues. His shaken issues. Alright, let's just do the turn meter. Want to take him out? Come on. Okay, Wrecker, you're not stealth, so I don't want to do his AoE. Let's just do the basic to get a dispel and get the kill. I'm stealth, so I'll go ahead and hit this Nightfall Trooper with a Retribution. Let's go ahead and spam the special. A couple hits. Now I want to kill this guy's Clone Troopers. Yeah, I love that move. Sometimes it comes a lot sooner than others, but just kind of roll with it. I don't care to hit Lord Vader. Subdued isn't a big deal, minus crit avoidance, defense, and tenacity, but I'll go ahead and use it because I'm going to benefit so much from it otherwise. Let's cleanse off Hunter. And since they are shocked, I can actually use the mark ability. This is one of the instances where you can use it, and he also just died. And here I can use this mark ability, which is going to give some extra offense to my people. So this is a kind of an unorthodox unraveling of events here. I still have Wrecker, which is not all the time. I'm gonna go ahead and use the bomb because they don't have Retribution yet. So we got Stagger, very nice if we can hit it. Let's call Hunter. And yeah, Crosshair is a beast at this point. Let's get some turn meter. Try to get more turns with Crosshair. Oh, love that. It's so good. All right. Do the bleed. And I'll save that move because, I mean, he's already almost dead. We got 8 stacks of target practice. Once you get past wave 1, you're set. I mean, it's a difficult team to win with, honestly, this Bad Batch. It's, if you're not doing it, like, very particular at the beginning, you're going to want to pull your hair out. But, yeah, this approach has worked for me. So go ahead and do basic. Saving those big hits for the beginning of the next wave makes your life a lot easier, like, kaboom. Yep. And yeah, we're not gonna try and mark him, but yeah, at this point they kind of have ramped up. Get that turn meter, Thunder Spear, take him out, almost. Yeah, it's basic. It's nice when Crosshair doesn't miss the broadside of a barn. And yeah, so this was actually way better fortune than I expected. I'm going to do a couple more runs just to show, like, the variety of things that can happen, because that went way better than I was expecting for the first run. So, Lord Vader's going to quit and take his ball home, but in the meantime, we got a perfect 1.8 million. Let's do some more just to show a couple other permutations. Alright, so another run, just see how we get it, and maybe a fail. I mean, I'm not hoping for a fail, but if it's a fail, it's a fail. I do the basic. Resisted everything. Didn't get speed down. That could actually be impactful. So Crosshair targeting himself. So he's getting to go before Batcher because we didn't land speed down. Do the bleed. He's got pinned. Okay, Wrecker is down for the count, and we're not getting crit here. So they're getting less stacks of execute down. So that's actually pretty nice, having 12 there still. I don't think it was that high the last run. But he's healed himself up a lot like a jerk. Once Omega goes, we can get some turn meter for ourselves. Yes. And, wow, Wrecker's actually going. So I don't want to do the big nuke throw because that's AoE. They'll counter him. Let's just use a basic, dispel that retribution. And wow, this is not exactly typical. So I have the big snipe ability already. I'm going to try to take out Apo. Got him. And then let's try to take out Fox. Good. And now we have shocked on everybody. There we go. It's actually a really good run again. At this point, I will try to heal up. We want Crosshair a lot more than anyone else. We got 10 stacks of execute, so let's keep an eye on that. We can mark them, if you recall, because they have the shock. Take them out, big guy. All right, yep, snipe them. Yep. We're not marking them, but we're getting assists called, which is fine by me. And there we go. We still got 6 stacks. Excellent. Calling Hunter is kind of probably a good idea just because he gets assists from that. I'll save that ability for a later turn. We can. Oh no, we shouldn't have actually marked there because he can stealth. So my bad. What's his face? Batcher is the only one that can ignore that. Help yourself because you're hurting. Still got 4, so no harm, no foul. But yeah, you just gotta be careful with that. And now we're going to help these poor gentlemen come out of it. So here on, it's usually pretty much assured, but we can't completely count on that. We got all 4 of this main cast here. I didn't like any of my options there, so I went ahead and just used the subdued. Yeah, I don't want to mark you either. Made that mistake. 12, 11, 10. I think I might actually get the kill, so I'm going to chance it with the mark. Got it. Okay. There's a lot of things to play around with here. I actually could have gone for this guy's one trooper there. Alright, we got 10 stacks. Let's take him out with those exposes. Let's save that. Oh, Omega. I'm not going to miss her. Honestly, she's not that important anymore. At this point, I think Crosshair and Hunter can just wipe fools out. Alright, and Batcher too, apparently. Alright, so let's take him out. Boom. Thunder Spear on Disguised Clone Trooper, if you can, of course. Don't give him the privilege of stealthing. And I love this one. Alright, so we lost Omega. We lost Wrecker, but it's all good. So, I mean, 2 in a row, I'll just take that. I'm not going to try to force show runs to you, but usually what happens is failed runs. I'm not going to try to force and find failed runs. What usually happens that would make it fail is you don't kill Fox or Apo around the time frame that I did get to kill them, where I had just a few stacks of Execute left. Wrecker, you know, you do want him to go down into captive. But you don't want it to be instant, because if he does go instant, someone's going to get on stealth, and then we're going to gun them down. So it's kind of a fine line to walk. But anyway, that's the approach that's worked for me. Let me know in the comments if you have any further perfections. Again, I think, you know, different modding could work, but this kind of turn order has really worked well for me. And yeah, so thanks so much. Hope this helps. Enjoy running your not R9 Bad Batch post-nerf, because R9 for this whole team is quite pricey. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.